Hello, my back to the one. My name is Beast. Today we're back with Kakenuke Seishun Sparking after my short stint into Cell. I do have another game I was asked to play, but I do want to get places with Kakenuke as well, so yeah. I really need to get rid of this fucking lighter. Anyways.
ゆう、朝よ、起きて。
Morning.
そう、朝よ、朝ごはん用意したから、早く起きて。
Got it, it's Ow! What the heck was that for? Pinch my cheek.
おはよう、ゆう。
There you go. Huh? I was lying here.
何よ、その変な顔。サーフィンの練習する約束だったでしょ？
Yeah, we did, but some tells me you're here way too early for that.
ゆうべから早く練習に行きたくて、つい早くゆうを迎えに来ちゃった。
That made sense. Oh, she's in my room though. Thought my door was locked.
それに、リツにゆうの食事をお願いしますって頼まれてるからね。ちゃんと合鍵だってあるのよ。
I remember what Itsu said just before she left. This was what she meant when she mentioned help.
さあ、早く起きて一緒に食べましょう。
Alright, sure. I'll be right there after I change.
私は先に行ってるから。
She's really that embarrassed. I could practically ran out of my bedroom. This is gonna make me smirk. Nagiko certainly left one out of an impression first thing in the morning. Oh, we're having omelet rice for breakfast.
うん、ちょっと失敗しちゃったけど、味は多分問題ないと思う。
You say you messed up, but I bet about all you did was break the yolks. She had apparently messed up when she tried to roll the eggs over. The omelet was slightly misshapen. However, something was there that caught my eye even more. But you're hot in ketchup!
笑いたければ笑えばいいわ。勢いでやっちゃったけどさ、後で冷静になるとすごく恥ずかしくなってきて。
Nah, this makes me ridiculously happy. What was the point where it would be a shame for me to eat this? Scooped up a bite of omelet and brought it to my mouth.
どう？
Said I scooped up. It thought like it felt like she's just like, no, you're eating this, bitch.
失敗はしてないと思うけど。
Delicious. There's no ordinary rice, is it?
気づいた？鶏のささみを使ったり、煮干しの粉末を使ったりしてるんだ。そもそもオムライスはアスリートに大事な栄養をいろいろ含んでるの。ご飯が糖質なのは説明するまでもないけど、ささみで脂質を抑えてタンパク質を摂取。卵では瞬発力にいいビタミン B2 が取れるんだから。
Yeah, I've heard that somewhere before. I had never properly studied nutritional science. I did, however, recall seeing info on the 3 major nutrients often enough. The addition of sardines also comes with a calcium.
そう、その通り。
I recalled the lunch she'd made for me a while back, one that had been tailored for an athlete. Nagiko had always based her meals on her own working knowledge, huh? Thank you for the meal.
お粗末様でした。じゃあ、後片付けは私がするから、ユウは外出の準備してて。
Nagiko began to cheerfully tidy up the dishes. It looked positively giddy.
もちろんよ。今日はユウに新技を披露してあげるわ。
Looking forward to it. Looking at her, I wouldn't know that she was down in the dumps yesterday.
ほらほら、早くユウも準備して。
Okay, I get it, so stop pulling me. Nagiko quickly finished cleaning the dishes, grabbed onto my arm. Then she proceeded to tug me away with her.
よーし、やるわよ。
It's great that you're amped up about this, but try to avoid being too reckless. I don't want you to get hurt or anything. I was terrified you'd get carried away and wind up in an accident.
わかってるわよ。さすがにそこまで浮かれてないから大丈夫。じゃあ、ちょっと行ってくるわね。
I'll keep an eye on you from here. She carried her board and ran toward the ocean. This was nothing new for her, so everything up to her performing a takeoff seemed to go without a hitch.
よーし、今日も調子は悪くなさそう。
She waited for a slightly heavy wave and performed a takeoff. Couldn't imagine she was likely to have any real problems as far as I could see. She whipped up and down repeatedly to gain speed. As usual, her stance was perfect when riding the wave. Seems to be doing well so far. Formed a cutback only to change orientation to gain even more momentum. She seems kind of faster than normal.
ここ
It was an air reverse. Nagiko went airborne and all. Board and all. Nagiko!
いや失敗。よし、次こそ。
I panicked when she flipped overboard and all and wiped out, but had apparently been worried over nothing. She started paddling and headed for open water.
よし、行くわよ。
This wave looked better than the one before it. She nailed the takeoff and gained speed to try and go airborne one more time.
ここ
She was more cautious than before. However, she still boldly tried to go airborne.
よし、行け
Ah, she didn't jump high enough. The bottom of the board hadn't risen up far enough. The fin of her board caught on the edge of the wave, and Nagiko was sent hurtling from her board.
ああ、もう
Nagiko.
全然うまくいかないわ。もう少しなんだけどな。
These things happen sometimes. Unfortunately, she'd failed every attempt at landing an air reverse. Once she made her way out of the water, she came back with a sigh.
次やれば絶対に成功するのに。
You've practiced quite a bit for today, though. Why don't you take a beat, then call it good for the day?
もう少しやりたいんだけど、でも、そうね。事故を起こさないよう、ほどほどにしとかないとね。
With that, today's training camp came to an end. What should I do, though? Nagiko looked kind of irritated to me. A slight change of pace would do her some good. Hey, Nagiko, want to drop by on the Youth Collective Clubroom tomorrow?
部室に
Got a text from Shinji earlier. He said he was bored, what with there only being girls around.
そっか。神楽坂には少し辛い環境よね。あの部室。
You've had your hands full with surfing practice, but why don't we stop by for a change? Might have put undue pressure on Nagiko if I had pointed it out to her directly. To be honest, Shinji hadn't sent me a text. I felt bad for using Shinji for my own convenience like that.
でも、練習もしたいし。
We can come back to the beach if there's time after club.
それもそっか。じゃあ、明日は青春部の部室ね。
Would a change of pace really benefit her at all? What was the best way I could encourage her? Help Nagiko get ready to head home with that thought in mind.
駆け抜け青春スパーキング。一緒に部活に行くのも久しぶりだね。
Sure has. I'm spending all my free time surfing with Nagiko.
ほんと、カイドウ先輩と仲がいいよね。毎兄少しだけ焼けちゃうかも。
Sorry we haven't gotten to spend a lot of time together lately, Ritsu.
別にいいよ。その分響ちゃんと遊んでるし。あ、お兄ちゃん、カイドウ先輩だよ。
Followed Ritsu's line of sight. Nagiko was standing idly by the school building.
おーい、ゆう
Morning, Nagiko.
おはよう。おはようございます、カイドウ先輩。
先日は兄がお世話になりました。朝食をごちそうになったって聞きました。
お世話だなんて。むしろ私の方がユウに色々助けてもらってるから。預かり物を返しておくわね。
はい、確かに受けた。でもいつでも好きな時に来てくださいね。兄もその方が喜ぶと思うので。
That was a sentiment they reached after exchanging the house key Nagiko had borrowed. Now we were with Nagiko, the three of us made our way to the clubroom.
あら、ユウにナギじゃないの。二人が来るのは久しぶりじゃない？
Hibiki greeted us the second we came to the room. In fact, everyone seemed to be present today.
お久しぶり、響。
最近来なかったけど、何してたの？
We had our hands full with surfing practice. Made it difficult for us to stop by.
そうなんだ。そういうことなら、こっちに来てる場合じゃないんじゃないの？さっさと練習へ行った方がいいんじゃない？
最初は私もそのつもりだったんだけどね。
Nagiko replied and turned her attention toward me. Well, I was the one who suggested we should make an appearance at the youth collective today. To be honest, we only stopped by for a quick visit.
そうなの？初耳だよ、お兄ちゃん。どうかされたんですか？したいこと？何よそれ。
It appeared I had piqued everyone's interest, as it was the first time Nagiko had heard of it too, and she was looking at me with surprise. Want to borrow Hiji's skate server to help with Nagiko's training?
そうだったの？
Yeah, I thought it might be worth trying something out of the ordinary.
そっか。確かにそれもいいかも。
So that's the story, Hiji. Would you mind letting us use your skate surfer?
あれなら好きに使っていいっすよ。そこら辺の荷物の中に埋もれてると思うっすから。ありがとう、ひじり。遠慮なく使わせてもらうわ。
Then again, it was probably going to be a pain to dig it out from under all of Hibiki's stuff.
ナギはあれを使ってトレーニング予定なんだ。それならちょうどいいわ。今日の青春部の活動はまだ決まってなかったし、私たちもそうしましょうか。小日向先輩がそう言うなら。ですけど、カイドウ先輩の練習の邪魔にならないでしょうか。ダメ？
Wasn't opposed to the idea, but it was ultimately up to Nagiko. What would you like to do?
問題ないわ。なんなら教えてあげる。
よし！本人がそう言うなら問題ないわよね。
Yeah, if Nagiko's fine with it, I'm not going to object either.
ならこれで決定。みんなでサーフスケートをやるわよ。
It was a lively response to Ibiki's command. Looks like the youth collective was the same as ever. The friendly atmosphere might prevent Nagiko from getting worked up. Like, they mentioned it so far, but I cannot imagine what the fuck the skate server is supposed to be. Like, I think I know what it might be, but I know it under a different name, so... So it's just a fucking longboard and that's it. Stop immediately getting rid of the fucking link I'm trying to click on. Okay. Surf skateboards. Surf skateboards, also known as surf skates or surf trainers, are designed to simulate the carving and pumping motions used in surfing, allowing riders to replicate the feeling of riding a wave on land. Features of surf skates. Surf skates typically have a longer wheelbase and wider trunks compared to traditional skateboards. This design allows for more stability and smooth flowing turns. The trucks on surf skates are often designed to have a greater range of motion, allowing for deeper carves and sharper turns. This... At least that was a picture of it. It's essentially like a fucking wider skateboard, but like the fucking wheels on the bottom can swivel. This dust game, we called it for today's activities.
本当に疲れ
た。普段使わない筋肉を使ったから、絶対に筋肉痛っすよ。
Everyone had been in high spirits. They all sounded pretty worn out.
筋肉痛でしたら、この前のストレッチを試すといいですよ。
この前のって、お泊まり会の時に言ってたやつ？はい、
筋肉痛にも結構いいそうです。そうなんだ。じゃあ帰ったら早速やらないと。先輩がそう言うなら、私も頑張ってストレッチします。
They talked silently amongst themselves when they got ready to go home. Shinji was largely excluded from their chat and looked a little lonely.
では、私はお先に失礼します。皆さん、またお泊まり会しましょうね。
あ、私も帰るわ。歩きながら次の日取りの相談でもしましょう。
賛成です。
After collecting their belongings, everyone filed out of the room one by one.
なあ、ユウ。戸締まりは任せていいんだよな。
Sure, no problem.
悪いわね。もう少しトレーニングしてから帰りたいから。
わかりました。じゃあ、俺もお先に。
Shinji finally left the club room, leaving only Nagiko and myself. It had been so rowdy up until a few minutes ago, and the room felt empty now that we were alone. Alright, should we get right into the next training segment? I don't know much about it, but I guess we're going to use the exercise ball. They're going to have sex on the exercise ball. Hippie had been storing a number of belongings here, the ball included. Could apparently be put to use for training.
ユウはプランクエクササイズって知ってる？
Never heard of him. Wasn't that the name of some scholar? I imagine there was no relation though.
簡単に説明すると、体幹や腹筋を鍛えられるトレーニングね。
Legendary abs.
うつ伏せになった状態で前腕と肘、つま先だけを地面につける。この状態をキープすることで負荷を与えるのよ。
Sounds similar to push-ups. I assumed that exact position to test for myself.
どう？結構いろんなところに来ない？
Crap, my arms and legs are wobbling like crazy. There's no way I could maintain this position. That's all I can take. Stood up before I collapsed. My legs proceeded to tremble and I quickly lost my balance. My legs had given out.
おっと！
Nagiko reached out to catch me before I fell to the floor. She wasn't exactly in a great position either. The face still forward and wound up buried in her big, beautiful breasts.
ほら、どこに顔を突っ込んでるのよ。
Sorry. Playing was surprisingly difficult. Quickly ripped my face away from her chest. Damn, she smelled good. My heart thundered in my chest and I frantically worked to maintain my composure. You're supposed to do that on an exercise ball?
そういうこと。バランスボールに腕をつく感じでやればさらに来るのよ。
I could almost feel my abs cramp up just imagining it.
それじゃやってみるわね。もしバランスが崩れたら補助をお願い。
Sure, I can do that. On that note, we immediately got started. Nagiko placed her arms on the exercise ball and assumed the plank position.
もう限界。
She did several planks, then got off the exercise ball.
やっぱり何度もやるときついわね。
Sure is. I don't think I can do any more either. We took turns, but I was the first to throw in the towel. Definitely didn't hold a candle to an active athlete like a Nagiko.
言ったらさっきから生まれたての小鹿みたいだものね。
So you say, but you're shaking a decent amount yourself.
私はまだ平気よ。むしろ負荷がかかって限界が近くなったこれからが本番なんだから。
It's fine to push your limits, but keep it in moderation, okay?
平気平気。ユウはもうやらないんでしょ？じゃあ続けて私がもう一回やるわね。
Roger, you got it. For all her talk, I was sure she was getting it was getting pretty hard on her, too. This might not be necessary. Just be safe. I was ready to help her at a moment's notice.
よし、じゃあ行くわよ。
Nagiko shook her hands to work away the numbness and put her arms back onto the exercise ball. I didn't notice anything wrong at first glance. In fact, she didn't look especially bothered by it. However, her arms started to tremble. Look out! She soon lost her balance and her arms slipped off of the ball. Reached out for her immediately. Oh! There was suddenly a soft yet hefty weight in the palms of my hands.
ゆう、なんでおっぱいをわしづかみにしてんの？
Sorry, I was trying to support you and it just happened.
離して。
Wait, don't move, you'll fall on the floor!
でもおっぱいが、ゆう。
I understand, but... Ah! I was desperate to keep her upright while she struggled in my grasp, and surprisingly supporting her proved impossible and we soon toppled over.
もう、ゆうのエッチ。
I don't think I can justify what just happened, but it wasn't on purpose, okay?
本当かしら？さっきも自分が倒れるふりして私の胸に顔を埋めてきたし。
You've got the wrong idea. That really was an accident.
でも、ここ、膨らんでるけど。
Nagiko gingerly poked the space between my legs. But this is a physiological phenomenon. That was Nagiko's wonderful smile and softness of her breasts. Those two things is what led to this sort of reaction.
ゆうのエッチ。別に必死になって隠したりしなくていいわよ。私はちゃんと知ってるから。それに、私はそんなユウも好きなんだから。
Okay, cool. She drew close, looking positively enraptured. You're already close after toppling over from the fall, but you proceeded to lean toward me all the same. Then... Her lips softly brushed against mine. She shamelessly clung to me as we kissed. Okay, not the H scene CG yet. She practically squished her body against mine. It was an oddly arousing sensation, especially after touching her breasts earlier. Nagiko, you're driving me crazy.
エッチなことしたくなっちゃったとか？
No, it's not exactly that.
いいよ。する？私がユウの全部受け止めてあげる。
Captors was going to obliterate my sense of reason. Nagiko whispered sensually in my ear, which made my heart throb. To hell with it! Whatever happens, happens! I didn't care that we were in the clubroom. I felt let instinct guide me and hung over Nagiko.
ユウ？
Oh, girl about to be mating pressed. Oh lord. See you after the H scene.
駆け抜け青春スパーキング。
H scene over. I met up with Nagiko on the way to the beach and walked with her the rest of the way.
今日も朝から付き合わせて悪いわね。毎日ありがとう。
I told you, don't worry about it. I'm doing this because I want to. There are plenty of perks in it for me, too. Making a lot of great memories, like what happened in the clubroom yesterday. Quickly realized what I'd meant by that comment, and her face gradually darkened.
バカ！そういうことは言わないの？それに恋人なんだし、ある意味で当たり前のことなんだし。
Well, some families are still on the whole no sex until marriage strain happens. Someone really needs to take this thing away from me. Yeah. Couldn't help feeling embarrassed despite being the one who brought it up.
とにかくよ。
Nagiko gently cleared her throat to try and shift gears. She turned and stared me down.
それでもありがとうはありがとうよ。それにしても今日はめちゃくちゃ気合が入るわね。昨日は海に入れなかったし、絶対に成功させてみせるんだから。
You certainly sound motivated. Yesterday seemed to have made for a good change of pace. Asking her to come to the youth collective must have been the right call. From what I could tell, her mood seemed to have improved dramatically. Say you.
そうみたい。ちょっとごめん。
She retrieved her phone and checked the screen. Her expression stiffened and I could almost hear how startled she was. Nagiko was calling her. She stepped away enough to... She stepped far enough away to answer her phone, all while looking visibly tense.
ごめんゆう。お待たせ。
The call had been relatively brief. However, Nagiko's expression remained stiff. Something wrong?
ああ、うん。五十嵐さんからの電話だった。3日後に撮影したいって。
3 days, huh? That was much sooner than expected. Nagiko's stiff expression was also a cause for concern.
次は失敗できないわ。
Yeah, you're right. Certainly hoped she wouldn't get worked up over this. Are you ready?
もちろん。これ以上ないくらいバッチリよ。
She nodded reassuringly with her surfboard in her grasp. Okay, I'll be watching you from here. Be careful not to hurt yourself or get into any accidents.
もちろん。よし。行くわ。
She ran off, still just as psyched up as before. Then she dove into the sand, from the sand into the ocean. Diving into the sand would not be good.
大丈夫。私はできる。大丈夫。パドリングの調子はいい。波も悪くない。
I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. Shoulders felt stiffer than normal too. Breaths came out sharp and ragged. Even so, these surfing conditions were rather favorable.
そうよ。私なら大丈夫。3日後の撮影に備えてバンバン技を決めてコツをつかみ直さないと。
Each paddle of my arms through the seawater brought me further out into the open water. While my heart clenched the closer I got to my destination. I suddenly got overwhelmed with anxiety.
行く。
I might actually probably have to use this Vanessa, though no. Just, probably with a different expression. Thank goodness.
なんだ。ただの取り越し苦労
I
じゃない。
successfully performed a takeoff.
このまま速度を上げる。
Pay careful attention to as I maneuvered the wave. I rode up and down repeatedly. The excitement built inside me with each repetition. Well, I guess serious expression can be used.
しゃん。
I performed a cutback to a slice in the opposite
波
direction.
はよし。速度もよし。私もちゃんと波に乗れてる。
It's okay. I can do this.
ここだ
Carefully waited for my moment to strike. I then put force behind my legs to perform an air reverse. Something about this felt funny. By the time I noticed, it was too late. I gave a silent cry as I fell into the ocean. Nagiko, she wiped out again. She's been trying her best to pull off several aerials, but... Wait, why am I just standing here? Need to head over and help her. Managed she would be fine, but I need to know that she was safe. Rushed off in her direction after she'd fallen into the water. Many times that she failed now, though. Nagiko, you're right.
大丈夫だけど、なんかやればやるほどダメになってる気がする。
It's tension. Some people are built for the pro life, others should keep it a hobby. It's just how life is. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, I don't think it's supposed to be this big. Actually, no, I'm putting this here. I'm putting this all the way back here, so do not fucking touch it again. Oh boy! That's not good, probably! There's no arson going on back here yet. Nothing is on actual fire. She appeared to be unharmed after wiping out, but her expression was nothing short of gloomy. It's almost noon. Why don't we take a quick break? It takes a lot of stamina just to get far enough out of the water, so you have to rest as much as possible. More than anything, pushing yourself when you're already tired is only going to make things worse.
Oh.
There was a notable lack of enthusiasm in her voice. At this point, all I wanted was for her to rest and recover her strength. Then, after catching a midday break, Nagiko immediately got back into the water. Another fall, and I saw that she had wiped out. I immediately headed over to help. Just like this morning, she hadn't yet landed a single aerial. She was trying to perform an air reverse from the start, but it transitioned into an ordinary aerial along the way. All you needed to do was jump and land. As simple as that sounded, she'd yet to pull it off. The frustration of her voice resonated in my heart. Did a great job out there today, Nagiko.
Oh.
Got to spend the entire day out on the ocean too. Maybe it's summer, but you should be careful not to catch a cold.
Oh.
Tried to keep my voice cheerful, but Nagiko sounded unbelievably depressed. It'll be okay, I'm sure you'll get it next time.
やめてよ。そんなこと言わないで。なんでなの？どうして一度もエアを決められないの？
Nagiko she shook her head slightly, her voice frail.
今までどうやって波に乗ってたのかわからないの。エアだけじゃない。ライディングだってなんか変になってた。
Plot twist. It's not the anxiety. Her legs are just fucking all kinds of whack because they've been fucking too much. That's true. Moves have been inconsistent, and she's wiped out several times without landing a single trick.
昨日一日海に出なかったのがダメだったのかな。うん、ごめん。違うのは私だって分かってるの。今までだって海に出ない日はいくらでもあったんだから。でもダメなの。変なのよ。自分の体じゃないみたいな感じで乗り方が全然わかんないの。何がダメなのかもわからないの。もう全部わかんない。どうすればいいのよ。
Sharing these concerns didn't bring her any closer to an answer. I wasn't able to give her any advice either. Well, I'm sure it'll work out somehow tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'm sure it'll work out somehow tomorrow. Hey, you weren't in the right headspace today. With someone with more experience say at a time like this. It's just an amateur after all. Nothing I said would hold much weight.
そうね。ユウが言うように明日になれば風向きも変わるわ。きっと。うん。きっと明日こそはうまくいくはず。
Of course.
明日も練習に付き合ってよね。ユウ。
Yeah, of course. Is she really gonna be okay? Now she'd made plans, I swallowed back those worries as best as I could. I'm still betting that somehow she's gonna get injured because she's overdoing the training in the fucking panic. Yeah, another day had passed. Practice yesterday had been similarly unproductive. Each and every one of her several attempts at aerials had ended in failure. Nike was hell-bent on pushing through, but was forced to call it quits early when the waves became too dangerous. Now the reshoot was on the horizon. She's like, huh? The way I had arrived earlier that morning, it was now past noon, she was still a no-show. Something happening on her way here or something. I was Sharon Lynn, but she never responded. Maybe I should head to her place and pick her up. I hesitated when I considered the possibility we might miss each other. Guess I'll wait a little longer.
ごめんユウ、遅くなったわ。
Nagiko! Thank goodness, I thought something might have happened to you.
うん、ちょっと寝坊しちゃって。
I see. Took a good look at Nagiko. She didn't appear to be injured. The only issue was the blatant anxiety spread across her face.
さあ、今日も頑張りましょうか。私、早速着替えてくるわね。
Sure. Nagiko jogged off to this changing room. It hurt to see her forcing herself to act so cheerfully. Lying on the side, she looked fine. Is she really gonna be okay? Most definitely not. Put on a wetsuit and slowly walked up to the ocean. Nagiko's feet stopped right in place. Nagiko? Something wrong. The number of people flocking to the beach had dropped drastically now that we were at the end of August. Regardless, there was still a decent number of people having fun on the beach. She ignored the other beachgoers and looked out onto the water with an intense look in her eyes. And Nagiko, are you okay today? No, you don't look okay at all. Anyone could see that from looking at her. She hadn't stepped foot into the water yet, and I could already tell it wasn't going to go well for her. It was like Nagiko was in a perpetual slump. The reshoot was tomorrow. She was undoubtedly feeling the pressure now. I wish I could step in for her if I were able, but there was nothing I could do. Powerless here, huh? It was pathetic that I couldn't do a thing at times like this. So we this night. Nagi, we should consider going home. Time passed by in the blink of an eye, and I had nothing to show for it. There was no point in practicing this late in the day. I reluctantly called out to her.
そうよね。暗くなった海は危ないし。
Again, it means you'll be performing unprepared tomorrow, huh? It's a really tricky situation. It's like Nagiko was being driven back into a corner.
ねえ、ユウ。明日、迷惑かけちゃダメだよね。撮影、今からでも断った方がいいのかな。
Nagiko seemed to realize the situation she was in, but Nagiko sounded reluctant.
今からでも断る。
Might have no choice depending on the circumstances, but what do you want to do? And I'm not talking about just the issue. What do you want to do going forward?
どうしたいかって。そんなの、プロになってみたいのは変わらないわよ。でも、本当になれるのかな。
That's not what she wanted to do, though. When she said what she wants to do, it was just that she wants to show off her tricks, which she doesn't need to go pro for that.
最近は合気道の方も中途半端になってるし。
Her stress and anxieties are only intensifying. I'd never seen Nagiko look so depressed before. So pronounced that I was at a loss for how to respond.
私なんて、こんなものだったんだ。所詮、胃の中の蛙だったのよ。ちょっとうまく技を決めて、動画でバズって。それで調子に乗っただけだった。いい気になってこのざまで。大会を知らない、ただのお調子者の蛙だったんだわ。
Nagiko.
もう、全部どうでもいい。やめる。サーフィンなんて、もうやめてやるわ。
I mean, yes, this is supposed to be like the drama of the rap, but at the same time, thank God we don't have to deal with the surfing part of the story anymore. Like with Aikido, I at least have some kind of reference since I used to do fucking Kung Fu and Judo before. So I at least have some frame of reference, you know? Surfing? I don't fucking know how to surf. I owned like a fucking tiny ass skateboard once upon a time that was gifted to me that I fucking never used because I can't skateboard. She made that careless declaration. That was a serious one at that. If this was what pushed her over the edge for good, then Nagiko would surely come to regret this decision in the long run. I get it. I'm no expert, but I know much about stuff like this. If I knew something drastic needed to be done. Alright, I've got it!
Huh?
We're gonna host a special training session right here, right now.
You? 急にどうしたの?
Don't make a decision just yet, at least not until after this training session. You can quit surfing then if you want.
やめていいの?
I want you to keep going, but the decision is ultimately up to you. I believe that whatever choice you make will be the right one. Okay then? You got changed to come with me.
え? 着替えるの?
Yeah, that's right. I would take care of her surfboard while she was getting dressed. I was pretty sure she'd rented a surfboard locker at the rental shop.
で、外に出てきたわけだけど、ここでどうするの?
We were standing on a mountain path. If you looked to the side, it was a trail leading up the side of the mountain to the shrine. Let's take a walk!
神社に用事があるの?
I'm more so interested in the trail going to the shrine.
え? 階段って... まさか!
She must have figured out what I was trying to do. Nagiko's eyes widened in surprise. Pretty sure this trail has around 450 steps in total. We're gonna run up the mountain.
本気で言ってんの?
I think what you're lacking right now is self-confidence. Nagiko gasped at my comment.
獅子.
Yes, self-confidence.
そんなの、どこを探したってないわ。自信、なくしちゃった。怖いのよ。失敗するのが怖い。海に出ると失敗のイメージで、頭の中がいっぱいになって。でも、頑張らなくちゃって考えて。期待に応えるために動かなくちゃって考えて。でも、そのせいで余計にぐちゃぐちゃになっちゃって。
Now it clicked. That's why you weren't able to go out into the water today. Sound completely crushed by the pressure. Yeah, I understood how this put her between a rock and a hard place. It's not like I'm an expert on any of this either. Can't say for sure whether or not this is correct. I can't say this much though. If you continue worrying about the what-ifs, then you'll never succeed.
それは...
Which brings me to my next point. There are 450 steps that lead to the shrine. If you can run all the way up them in a single burst, will that make you feel like you could accomplish anything?
そりゃそうでしょうね。450段を駆け上るなんて発想、本来なら神経を疑うもの。
I'm sure it does. It was certainly an unreasonable request, but it's exactly what it was worth doing.
でも、それができたってさ、何が変わるの？何も変わらないかもしれないじゃない。
Yeah, it is. I was repeating myself at this point, but I was no expert. There was no telling if this was actually going to work. But hey, I think we'll see when the time comes. Like I said before, you can't be the one to decide what to do in the end.
それ、なんかずるくない？ユウは私だけに走らせて、高みの見物してるってわけ？
Had you gotten back into her stride a little? I spotted a tinge of hope in her soul and demeanor. Why don't we make it a race? If I win, you continue surfing. If you win, you can do whatever you want. What do you say?
何よそれ。その条件って私の得になってないじゃない。
That's not true. Rather than putting your fate in the hands of the universe, I want you to rely on me and pour everything you've got into this. To be honest, I was trying to provoke her.
ちょっと待って、それって私が負ける前
Well, I guess that's how it would work out. I'm not gonna back down so easily. My phrasing was deliberately cold. Knowing Nagiko, if this was the same Nagiko I knew her to be, then she would face me head on. In fact, she would happily try and take me down. What do you want to do, Nagiko?
そうね。
She eyed the stairs seemingly deep in thought. Being the time of day that it was, the path was dim and shrouded in the darkness.
やってやろうじゃない。この階段を登った先で何が見えるかはわからないけど、ユウを信じて駆け抜けるわ。
There was an undeniable fire in her eyes, and I was relieved to see that Nagiko I knew and loved behind that fearless smile.
よし。じゃあ、よーい、ドン。
Hey, that was quick! She immediately gained speed and raced up the path. I chased after her in a fluster.
やば、これきつ。
Oh, this is brutal on my legs! Took no time at all for my legs to feel heavy once I began my ascent. My breathing had grown ragged and my entire body felt like lead. Damn it, I'm not finished yet! I shouted from the pit of my belly to try and pep myself up as much as possible. That was all it took to make this a little easier. Felt like it progressed just a little further forward. Oh!
きつすぎるでしょ、これ。
Continued to push my legs upward out of sheer desperation. The muscles in my legs were throbbing. I couldn't help but gasp for air. We're halfway there!
もうダメ。死んじゃうから。
I've got more where this came from. I can keep going.
待ちなさいよ、ユウ。
The pathway never seemed to end, no matter how far we made it up the hill. My legs were heavy. This was definitely a case of some insane lactic acid buildup. Still, my legs refused to stop. Nagiko remained determined to keep going and trailed close behind me.
もうダメ。もういい。走るのもサーフィンもやめる。絶対にやめてやるんだから。
Only if you beat me! You're gonna be addicted to the surfing for the rest of your life.
うるさい。私よりサーフィン下手なくせに。寝言は寝てから言いなさいよ。
We're clearly suffering from the lack of oxygen to our brains. Maybe that was why we felt a sudden rush of euphoria the further up we went. We let the momentum carry us and just kept on shouting. If I go to sleep now, I'll die! This is going to kill me!
死ぬな、バカ。
I'm not gonna die, dummy! I'll die before I make you my bride!
じゃあ、私が勝ったらお嫁さんにして。
That's got nothing to do with winning or losing! I had no idea what I was saying at this point. This was so brutal, I held back the urge to hurl. There was no way I could stop now, especially when I had to come this far. Nagiko, I love you! Oh, I love you!
私より前に進んで。この負けない。私の方が好き。ユウ、大好き。
The two of us poured our hearts out as we scaled the mountainside. There's some fucking, like, two people that are just, like, casually wandering up the same path, like, just... What the fuck? This was rough. It felt like we were suffocating. Brutal. But we were determined to not be left behind by the person we loved most as we ran alongside one another. Like, all I gotta say is, again, we celebrate the fact that a man ran for fucking ages. Like, how many I forget the exact number of kilometers. And died to fucking deliver a message by just styling on him and running the same distance or more without dying. Yeah, the name Marathon comes from the legend of Theodiptes, the Greek messenger. The legend states that while he was taking part in the Battle of Marathon, which took place in August or September, he witnessed a Persian vessel changing its course towards Athens as the battle was near a victorious end for the Greek army. He interpreted this as an attempt by the defeated Persians to rush into the city to claim a false victory or simply raid, hence claiming their authority over Greek land. It was said that he ran the entire distance to Athens without stopping, discarding his weapons and even clothes to lose as much weight as possible, and burst into the assembly, exclaiming, "We have won," before collapsing and dying. So yeah. Like, we literally fucking celebrate this man by styling of him. We cleared our minds of outside thoughts and propelled our bodies forward. We're gonna get a CG of this? Nah. And suddenly the pathway opened up. We had reached the shrine grounds. Neither of us stopped running. I can't do it anymore. I'm gonna die. It's brutal.
私も限界。ゴールはどこ？
Past here, at the top of those stairs. We rushed towards the stairway that led to the viewing platform. It really was my limit now.
私たち何やってんだろうね。
What? You mean what? Very nice. I think we're enjoying our youths. I dashed up the pathway while shouting my pointless commentary. This wasn't youth, then what was?
してるしてる。私たち最高に青春してるかも。何の根拠もないんだけどさ。今なら私何でもできる気がする。
I see. Glad to hear that. I'm gonna win! I'm definitely gonna win!
勝つのは私が勝つに決まってるでしょ。
We shouted in unison as we made our way into the top of the stairs. Why did we suddenly burst into a sprint? To what end were we running? What did we want to win for? At this point I've forgotten all about that. The sound of Nagiko's ragged breathing and vigorous footsteps motivated me to keep pushing forward. The end came abruptly. We reached the top at nearly the same time and immediately flopped to the ground. Only the sounds of heavy breathing resonated into the stillness of the night. I gazed up the sky, perfectly lit with stars. Only the moon that was casting a powerful light was watching over us.
不思議な気分よね。私たちがこんな風に青春してるなんてさ。
Yeah, it does. This would have been utterly inconceivable before summer vacation started.
Yeah. キスしちゃった。青春もそうだけど、こんな最高な彼氏が隣にいるし、私幸せよ。
Nagiko. Damn was blushing. Embarrassment welled up inside me when she smiled in my direction from point-blank rage while we were sprawled out along the ground. Oh, my legs are shaking. My breathing eventually evened out and I sat upright. Why are you holding out your hand?
手を借りなくても自分で立ち上がれるんだからね。
Okay, I gotcha. Both of our legs were trembling. I helped Nagiko up and we helped keep the other standing. We finally got a good look at our surroundings. It's pretty.
そうね。
You could see where everyone lived based on the number of city lights. There was a vast ocean that stretched behind it as far as the eye could see. Nagiko took a sweeping view of it all and let out a deep breath of astonishment.
街明かりが綺麗ね。それに簡単に一望できるくらい小さな街。本当に私、井の中の蛙だったんだ。
Isn't that the same for any famous athlete when they first start out? They all had to start from somewhere and took steps to improve upon themselves. It's just, I believe it's up to each person whether they stay in that puddle or make it out into the great big ocean. When they find the destination, they may be able to be a part of that greater ocean. It's like that for all professional athletes. Even if they were a top domestic competitor, they might be insignificant on a global scale.
そうかもしれないわ。挑戦なくして成果なし。誰かがそんなこと言ってたわよね。誰だったか覚えてないけど。誰だったっけ？
Not familiar with stuff like that.
学年1位でもわからないことあるんだ。
There's no point committing something to memory if it wasn't going to be on a test. I prioritize efficiency above all else. It was incredibly difficult to maintain my scholarship status as it was.
言うらしいわね。でも、誰が言ったかなんてどうでもいいか。その言葉の意味さえ分かってれば。
Well, setting all of that aside. So I won the match.
はあ？どこ見てたの？私の勝ちでしょ。
No, you didn't. My tiptoes touched the top step first.
酸欠になって意識が朦朧としてたんじゃない？そうじゃなくても、ユウは先輩に譲るってことを覚えた方がいいわ。
Didn't look like Nagiko had any intentions of backing down. Fine, I get it. We'll call this Yowen. So, what will you do? What do you want to do?
そうね。
Nagiko grew quiet, then closed her eyes and placed a hand on her chest. She didn't remain silent for long, though.
サーフィン続ける。自分の限界を見極めてやるわ。
That's how it should be. Knowing the Nagiko I love, I was sure you'd say that. Yes, the outcome of our match itself hadn't mattered. I believe that Nagiko would come to that conclusion as well.
大好きって、もう、からかわないでよ。
No, I'm extremely serious. I was yelling it like crazy on our way up here earlier.
思い出した。私もめちゃくちゃ恥ずかしいこと言った気がする。
We were both fairly oxygen deprived at the time. I recalled saying some very embarrassing things myself.
でも、私もユウのこと大好き。最高の彼氏だと思ってる。
That's an honor.
それで、その最高の彼氏にお願いがあるんだけど。
Don't fuck on the shrine grounds. What is it? What could this serious turn be about? Tilt my head and my Nagiko leaned far forward.
私、今すぐにサーフィンしたい。
Hold on a second. Do you realize what time it is? It's practically pitch black outside. Going into the ocean right now would be suicidal.
でも待ちきれないの。今すぐすっごくしたいの。
I get it. Come on, don't cling to me like that. Hearing her beg with her arms around me made me instantly surrender. Really shouldn't get in the water at night, though. Let's wait until the morning.
仕方ないか。それじゃあ、朝一で海だからね。約束よ、ユウ。
We would take a short break until then. Took the view from the observation deck while Nagiko and I curled up together. It was the world we spent our entire lives in, and I gazed up at the vast space that extended beyond it. I chilled on a minute, go back, now one more. There we go. I'll take a screenshot of this specifically, because we don't really have a usable CG. Well, I guess I do have the surfing CG, but I don't want to use that again. Also, I think I just accidentally skipped something.
やっぱ展望台から見る海と近くで見る海は違う
Alright,
わ
I
ね。
get down as we quietly wait for the night to end. There we go. We'll also end here for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. See you next time. Bye bye.
セーブするわよ。